Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Pickups. This is part 2 of August of 2022. The first thing that I found was a lot of N64 games for 357 shipped. It was a guy who had a lot of cheap N64 games for sale. When I bought them, I didn't know that they would all be with their manual. I thought they were all loose, except for one, which I'll show later. First, there was Carmageddon 64, F1 World Grand Prix, Mario Golf, and Mischief Makers, which is a bit expensive, so this one was nice to get for so cheap. Then there's the boxed one, Pilot Wings, which came with the manual, this really cool poster, and the box itself, of course. Now the poster I want to show real quick. One side has a bunch of N64 games and a little bit about the machine itself. And the other side is about the newly released Game Boy Pocket and the colored versions of the old model. This thing is really cool. Then we have two games more, Wave Race and Wet Tricks. After that I got something in the mail for a little over 1,000. I don't remember exactly what it was. It's gonna be right there. It's something which has been on my list to get for a very long time, ever since I was at a party at a friend's who maybe is a bit too rich than they know what to do with their money. So they had some arcade machines, and one of those arcade machines was a Sega Rally cabinet, and I played that at a few parties that I've been to over there at his house. I really like that game ever since having played it over there. So I looked to see where you can get that on home consoles. I tried emulating it in MAME, couldn't get it to work. You could get it for the PS2, but I think that was in Japan only, and I live in Europe. So my only option was to get a Sega Saturn. And then one day, as I was a bit bored, I suddenly got a notification from the app that I use to buy and sell old games that someone had posted a Sega Saturn. So I bought that. It was on the other side of the country, so it had to be shipped. But that thing was complete in the box, and the box itself is quite worn, but the machine looks very nice, and it included one controller and both cables. The video cable was even an RGB cable, which gives the best possible looking video you possibly can. It wasn't just the console here, there was also a game with it, which is one of the more expensive games on the system. It's a beat 'em up from the same guys who made Gunstar Heroes. This is Guardian Heroes. Everything is complete, but as you can see here, the disc is missing, and that was because I couldn't wait to set this up until I filmed this. So in a moment we'll move downstairs and I'll show you it working. It's really cool. Now the next obvious step for me is obviously getting a copy of Sega Rally. Next up was some stuff from Nintendo Pushon, a Danish game store. I got it all for that price. I don't remember exactly what it was. But anyway, here's what I got. First off, there was box protectors for all of the complete NES games that I got in last episode. The games themselves are not from that store. Same thing with this, which you saw earlier. It's a very expensive game, so I also got a protector for that. Then previously I have made these mini boxes for some of my N64 games. They fit perfectly in there, and that is also using box protectors. And I really liked these, so I bought two more. I also wanted to try to see if I could make one for a Super Nintendo game, like Worms here, which I already had. It looks like it's possible, but I made it not quite in the right size. That's why I can't get it quite to fit here. Then some actually new stuff that isn't box protectors. I got these two Super Nintendo games, a Stunt Race Fx, an impressive 3D racing game for the time, using the same chip that Star Fox / Starwing used. Then there's Super Morph, which I think, if I remember correctly, was kind of like Kirby, where you could take on different abilities. And then there was these two games which use the GunCon light gun. I have a copy of the GunCon 1 and I bought a light gun game for the PS2 for that exact reason, but that turns out that needed the GunCon 2 and the one I had only worked as a GunCon 1. So I looked at a list of games that would work with the first GunCon, and they had these two in the store, so I bought them. Next up we have something that I don't usually even acknowledge is there when I see it, which is PC games. But this time was different, because I saw that it was these old big box PC games, and I know these can have some value. I saw them at my favorite thrift store and I bought 3 of them. The 2 first smaller ones here were 50 kroner and the last one was 40, so 140 in total. Which is quite expensive for PC games, but it's cheap for old big box PC games. First there was Phantasmagoria. There was also a sequel, Phantasmagoria, A Puzzle of Flesh, and lastly the Pandora Directive. These are going to be sold, as very soon there will be a retro game market here in Denmark. And that's not something that happens very often because it's such a small country. So I'm really excited to go there, and I think these will sell very quickly there, even though I'll sell them as untested. Remember earlier in this episode when I said something along the lines of, now the next obvious step for me is obviously getting a copy of Sega Rally. Well, I took that next step and now I have this beautiful copy of Sega Rally. I got it in a trade along with another controller, because there was only one included with the console. And the guy traded for a copy of Toe Jam and Earl on the Mega Drive.
Sega Rally Championship.
Next up was these 6 PlayStation 1 games from my local used media store that has games, movies, magazines, books and all sorts of stuff. I looked through all of the PlayStation 1 games and had my phone in the other hand so I could look up prices. And I found some that I would never have thought to buy, but turns out a lot of these have some value, like Nanotech Warrior here and a lot of the others, Beast Wars 2. So I got all these for 300 kroner. And it's actually 7 games, because Road Rash here had a second disc for some reason. It's not disc 1 and 2 for the same game, it's just 2 copies of the same game. Next up is this N64 Bundle that I got for 800 kroner. The console itself is complete except for the manuals, which is missing. And there's these 4 games with it. FIFA 99, NASCAR 99, Penny Races with the manual and Quake with the manual. It did not have the grey controller, but it did have a yellow one. And this one is in really nice condition. After that I found somebody online selling some Wii games and a bit of PS3 and PS2 I think. They were 10 kroner each, so I got this one for 50 kroner shipped. You might think, why in the world would I pick this up for 50 kroner? That is because this is actually an often overlooked, I would guess, rare game. It goes for around $50 to $60. I'm going to resell this as I don't really care for this type of game. And that was it for this month. Thank you for watching.